congratulations on this graphic novel. I've had a chance to sit down and read it, and it's amazing. So congratulations.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Did you read the whole thing?
I did, yes. They sent me a
Oh,
PDF copy, so yeah, I was able to read the whole thing.
appreciate the time.
So, Omar, for our listeners out there, could you tell us a little bit about Ancient Explorers? Tell us a little bit about the storyline and what people can expect when they sit down to read it.
Yeah, it's basically two best friends, Mark and Luis, that grew up together, listening to Mark's grandpa tell stories about adventures and treasures and maps. And when they grew up, they forget about all these things. They got into a business that they go into bankruptcy, and they lost everything. They go into this bar to meet two beautiful archaeologists that got interested in Mark's compass and eventually Mark's map. And the map had a lot of ancient symbols that they can lead to the city of Paititi. Paititi is a true legend, a lost city of Peru. So basically, something put their lives in danger, a danger that drives them to do what they always wanted to do in life, to be explorers of the ancients. And that's when the story triggers, where Mark, Luis, Sandy, and Jennifer go into this journey to discover the lost city of Patiti. So we have a lot of elements of fantasy and science fiction and adventure, like Indiana Jones, The Goonies. It's a fun story for everybody to read.
Definitely. And where did the idea come from for you? Is this an idea that you've been sitting on for a long time?
You know what? I always wanted to write an adventure story, and it was back in 2009 that I went to the actual Amazon jungle in Peru to do a medical service for 2 weeks. And that's when I knew about the legend of Paititi. I never heard about it. So having that experience, being in the jungle for 2 weeks, plus knowing about this story, me being a storyteller, it was the perfect combination that to jump into and write a story about it.
So you were there for 2 weeks. Were you able to do much research while you were there into the Lost City, or did you have to do that when you came back home?
When I came back home, that's some of the locals told me about Paititi, and basically Paititi is kind of a lost city like El Dorado or one of those gold cities with lot of treasures. So when I came back from Peru, that's when I started reading about it, researching, reading. I saw documentaries about it, and it fascinated me because not many people know about Paititi. Most people know about in Peru, Machu Picchu and other civilizations, other cities, but not too much about Paititi, and that's what intrigues me the most.
So how long did it actually take you to sit down, flesh out the story, and then go from start to finish with the book?
So basically, this story came. I did wrote like a first novel of this story back in 2012-13. One of the first things I wrote. I always wanted to do it as a graphic novel back then, but I didn't know much how to go about it. So the story, I've been working this story basically since 2013. So that's almost 9 years. Until now that the finances came together, and I wanted to do a hybrid novel, comic books, because the paper is too expensive now for printing because of COVID. So I don't know if you see the design. I love it. I printed the previous special and it's beautiful. So I've been working this story for 9 years, back and forth.
Wow. And what was it that made you want to make it as a graphic novel? So many writers out there would be just happy to have it out as a novel. What made you want to do it as a graphic novel?
I love comic books myself. I'm a huge comic book reader and fan. I did wrote another story before this one as a comic book. It's called The Unearthians, a 12 issues maxi series, and I wanted to write this story as a graphic novel comic book. The visual of it, that medium of the art and the visual of what you trying to write on the paper, I think is magical, and it's kind of engage more the audience, at least for comic book readers.
Now, I have to ask, because we ask this of every guest that we have on the show that is a comic book fan, what are the comics that you're buying today, and what was the comics that first got you into being a comic book lover?
Well, that's the first. The last one is easier. Superman comics. I mean, Superman is my favorite superhero. DC back in the 80s. That's when I get into comics. The comics that I still reading is Superman, a lot of DC. Indie comics, I can tell you, Descender by Dustin Nguyen. Which one was the late Saga? I don't know. It's an independent comic by Brian Cavan. Image Comics. I'm reading a lot of the Justice League, a lot of DC stories. Justice League, independent, mostly Saga, Descender, Ascender. And I'm reading a new one. Oh, the new one from Keanu Reeves, Bizarka by Boom Studios. I don't know if you heard about them.
Yep.
I love that story, and I can't wait for Netflix to do the TV show. I think they pick up the story to do it as a TV series. So right now, that's what I recall. But I read a lot of other. I mean, I read a bunch of comic books nowadays.
Now, you mentioned, of course, that you've worked in television and film yourself. Could you ever see Ancient Explorers being turned into a television show or a film?
Yeah, I mean, that's. I think at the end, that's one of the main goals. And I think, I don't know if every comic book writer, artist, but that's kind of one of the goals, to see your story as a live action on the big screen or TV screen with the streamers nowadays. That the quality, the production quality is amazing. It's exactly like a movie. So definitely, Ancient Explorers, I will explore eventually the development into a TV.
Now, you mentioned about seeing your story come to life. Of course, you've kind of seen that with the artwork by Miguel Guzman. Tell me a little bit about what was your first thoughts when you saw Miguel's artwork for Ancient Explorers?
Miguel was a no-brainer. Edwin Estrada was the one that contacted me with Miguel. He's a friend of Edwin. Edwin Estrada is the colorist, amazing colorist from Mexico. And when he shows me the art of Miguel, there's no double thinking. I told Edwin, whatever we do, we need to work with Miguel. We work the finances, we work it out. And I'm so happy. I mean, you see the art. Miguel is an amazing artist from Mexico, and I wanna work with him in my next project that I'm already kind of developing at the moment. But I'm so happy. The art came much better of what I wrote on the script. To be honest, it was a blast working with him.
Awesome. Now, of course, it is being launched at San Diego Comic-Con. How does that make you feel? That is the biggest Comic-Con in the world. How does it feel that your book is being launched there?
It's an experience that I'm looking forward to do. It's very exciting. It's my first year to have to be an exhibitor in San Diego Comic-Con. 2019, before the pandemic hit, I released my first comic book, The Unearthians, where back then I had a panel to release it. I wasn't being an exhibitor, so now as an exhibitor, having my own table and releasing Ancient Explorer is kind of a dream come true, to be honest. As a comic book fan, to be in the biggest comic book convention in the world is exhilarating, and I'm actually looking forward to go there tomorrow and set up my table and just look at for the first time in the biggest stage of comic books.
Definitely, and I know that some of our listeners are there at the moment in San Diego for the Comic-Con. Are they able to come up and say hi to you if they're there?
Yeah, of course, yeah, stop by. I'm going to be on the small press area, table M as a mother 05. Stop by, say hi. We're going to have printed previous special for free. They're very limited, so stop by, take one. We're going to have the Unearthians comic books for sale. We're going to have posters for free that we're going to give for free. And stop by, say hi, and let's meet.
And for our listeners that are not lucky enough to be in San Diego at the moment, where will they be able to get a copy of the graphic novel?
For Ancient Explorers, at the moment, I'm going to put it on Kindle Amazon. That we'll have it already. We're going to have it tomorrow available in the UK. I'm going to print the full book eventually, but right now, because of the chain supply, the paper is so expensive that printing the whole novel, I would need to sell the novel for almost $40-50, so to make some profit. So, but Ancient Explorers and Unearthian both are going to be available tomorrow on Amazon Kindle, and you can read the whole thing.
Well, Omar, thank you so much for taking the time to chat to us today. It's been an absolute honor having you on the show. And I guess to finish up, what would you like to say to all of our listeners out there before they go sit down and read Ancient Explorers?
Just pick up the book, have fun, read it. I don't know, live your dreams. That's basically what Ancient Explorer is, to follow your dream and follow your journey and enjoy it. So I don't know, have fun.